What's up, Big Red Hunters? Today we're going to talk about duck calls for beginners and how to choose the perfect call for you. Because in all reality, choosing the perfect call for you means it could be completely different than someone else. The best thing about choosing the perfect call is understanding, number one, what makes up a call, number two, the inner workings of the call, three, understanding your location and where you're actually doing your duck calling, and four, how to put it into action and choose that perfect call for you. The first thing I get questions all the time of like, what kind of calls do you use? What brands do you use? Where'd you get yours at? And the big thing is I want to tell those people, yeah, I have great calls and I love my calls that I use, but in all reality, just because they're good for me and that I like them doesn't mean necessarily that they're right for you. Number one, we'll start out with the calls that I have. I don't use them all necessarily on an all basis, but obviously I have all of them. There's three different types of different types of things that go into calls. Number one, a polycarbonate molded call, basic plastic. This is the first call that I ever received. It's a green wing RNT call that is just kind of given away at Ducks Unlimited conferences. My grandpa was the president, and obviously I went to all those Ducks Unlimited banquets, and that's actually how I got started into waterfowl in general, and being able to have a call like that to get started on is really crucial for someone. Second style call is a wood. This is a rosewood by Chatterbox Calls. This is a Fulks, just kind of your basic single reed. This is a Cabelas from Ducklander Calls. This actually was sent to us by a gentleman named Jeremiah Leeson. If you guys ever have a need for construction out in Kansas, look him up on Instagram, shoot him a DM. He's not only great at his job, but also a good person as well. I was chatting back and forth about Ducklander Calls and kind of getting an idea of what I wanted next for my next call, and asking about his experience with that type of call. And he's like, well, man, I got a couple extras I can send you. So obviously just a nice generous waterfowl hunter that was able to share his experience as well as the type of calls he uses. So the next type of call is a Brent Hoover custom call. He's from North Platte, Nebraska. This is just a single reed that was custom made that my dad got me for Christmas. Also a great call maker. You can check him out on Facebook. This is an acrylic single reed made by Chatterbox Calls. You can check him out on Instagram or Facebook as well. This is a PH2 acrylic zinc call. Very versatile. Obviously kind of a really all well-rounded call. It's a double reed. This is a single reed loud timber from Ducklander Calls. Bobby Hayes makes some pretty good calls. You can check him out on Facebook and Instagram. Overall, I would say is that, first of all, you've got a range from anywhere from a $20 call to a $150 call. And obviously the quality ranges and also the price range. And we all know that as waterfowl hunters, we like to spend plenty of money on our equipment, but also starting out as a beginner, understanding the basics of a call before you get clear invest in a $150 call is kind of crucial to begin with. Second of all, the inner workings of a call is every call maker has a different way and technique of doing what's called a soundboard. The insert here is the basic of a call, and really a barrel makes a difference, but this is really the inner workings of what a call is. And also this is a double reed. You can see a couple different reeds here. And each call maker does things separately. Even though they're all duck calls, they all sound differently. Like this one sounds completely different than this polycarbonate RNT. Completely different sound. So with that being said, you have double reeds, and also this one's a single reed. The biggest thing that I would explain about double reeds and single reeds is double reeds tend to be kind of on the mid-range of the sound of duck call, and single reeds tend to have a little bit lengthier side of the range of call. But the thing is, being a beginner caller, my big thing is, I'm going to say, is that try out calls. But I would say, before I get to that, is saying, double reeds tend to be a little more flexible. If you mess up or put too much pressure or not enough pressure or whatever it may be, beginning out calls, is that you can be a little more flexible and it won't necessarily sound awful and flare your ducks away. But a single reed tends to be what more of the pro callers use. But in the same fact, single reeds are great, and sometimes it takes less air, which makes it easier to begin with and really practice. Next thing I would say is understanding where your location is. So something like an open air lake kind of territory place, compared to, say, like flooded timber, where you don't necessarily have a long range of vision, so you would be able to only see your ducks maybe 30 to 50 yards, maybe totally different than needing a call trying to get, say, a sea duck or mallards clear across a lake anywhere 100 yards, with some wind or whatnot, to get their attention to come in. So something like a single reed ducklander loud timber has a completely different sound and range of sound to be able to get out to those ducks. So something like that, or if you need something a little bit softer, I use this, and even though this is a $20 call like we talked about, can still work in places, in small places. Like I use that in a warm water slough where I don't necessarily need as much noise to get ducks to come in. So with that being said, knowing your location, starting off understanding what the basics of a call, that there is a range of quality and range of sound, but also understanding that each brand has their separate tone boards and they all sound differently. Lastly, understanding your location. Now, with taking that all in and understanding all of that, it can be a lot to take in. So I would say your next step of understanding how to choose your perfect call that's suited for you is to be able to try to get your hands on as many possible calls as you possibly can. Try your buddies out. Go to a calling competition and try. I'm sure that plenty of brands will let you try out their calls. Go to different retail stores, Shields, Cabelas, all of those guys are willing to let you try out calls. Go through, try calls, try as many calls as you can, and kind of get a sense of what you like, what's best for you, and lastly, understanding what kind of pressure it takes. Is something like this orange wood made by Brent Hoover is a whole lot easier to blow into and doesn't take as much pressure to make it sound as, say, my loud timber by Ducklander calls. With that being said, my next advice would be I don't want to go out and spend a bunch of money to begin with. I would honestly, if I were you, I would buy something like a cheap Falks call. Yeah, I understand that it's going to be 20 bucks and then you'll end up spending whatever more in the future. But taking a call like this, and I remember, I had my polycarbonate. I grew up on a Falks, but I remember a Duck Commander that my dad gave me. It was a wood one, 20 bucks. I still remember to this day that I called in a Drake mallard on some public ground, and my brother shot it. It was one of the most exciting experiences of my life. I was probably 9 or 10 years old, but understanding that I used to sit in a goose pit and annoy the crap out of my dad practicing with his duck call in order to even be fluent enough to bring in a duck is what it really takes. So sitting, in your house in a closet and going out to some land, public land, wherever it takes to just get out and be able to blow a duck call, because in all reality, when you begin, most people don't sound very good. And it's one of those things that takes practice. It takes a long time, and even to this day, I've duck hunted for plenty of years, and I'm still not perfect at it. And there's guys still going to be better than me, and that's okay. But yet, I call in plenty of ducks. With that being said, to finish off, understand the 3 types of calls: polycarbonate, wood, acrylic, understanding they're differently made, the toning boards, different types of reed, understanding your location. You either get a lot of sound or kind of a softer call, and understanding that there's a perfect call for you, but you have to understand what exactly you need and suiting that need, and then going out and finding the perfect call for you, because it may not be necessarily the look you want, but it's about the sound. And at the end of the day, we all want limits of ducks, we all want to have successful hunts, we all want to have those magnificent days, and that takes a lot of time, takes a lot of effort, and sometimes it takes a little cash, and we all understand that as waterfowl hunters. But more quality products, more quality hunts, and at the end of the day, happy hunting, guys. Please, I'd love for you to hit subscribe. I've got some more duck call basic for beginners videos coming through. I've got a whole lineup that I'm going to do. And hit like, and also if you'd like to comment, tell me what kind of call you like, double or single reed, or maybe even the brand. That would be great. I'd love to hear about that. So thanks, guys, and happy hunting.